What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff Iafrate from Crunch Time here to break down Jared Goff calling out Detroit sports media. And the words he used was Detroit sports media, they tend to relish in negativity, which, I'm going to give my thoughts on it after I play the clip here. There's a lot more context that's in the podcast itself. I believe the YouTube is called Wilbo, and they do some pretty good interviews. They sat down with Jared Goff for like an hour. So go watch it. It's always important to get context in these type of interviews because typically when people see a minute clip, they like to go off and give their opinion without actually watching the interview. And I went ahead and watched it. But here's the clip that has really exploded on Twitter. And this is, again, from Lions Fan Report. They're doing a good job. So here's the clip, and then I'll give my thoughts on it after. But here's what Jared Goff had to say about Detroit sports media in a recent interview.
Of this, I probably need to drop it pretty soon here because I'm going to hopefully be in Detroit for a long time. But I have this thing with our local media where they almost relish in negativity at times.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what gets clicks and that's what sells. But it's no longer what they need to live in.
Right.
Hey guys, we have a good team. We've had success. We can be happy about that. We can celebrate that and not have to write about how we're constantly the underdog. No, teams are going to be gunning for us now. We won the division and all that. And I'm probably overthinking it in my head just because it's the chip on my shoulder and the competitor in me. But in that moment, I was just giving that guy a hard time. I actually really like him, but
I think that's great.
So there's the clip that exploded on Lions Twitter, Detroit sports Twitter. And when you listen to what Jared had to say, I know it's easy to sit here and be like, how dare Jared? For some media outlets, I think for me and how I took it is Jared Goff, especially from LA to Detroit, he's really used this chip on his shoulder, use this, the world's against him, or, just a lot of Lions fans were against him at first. They kind of looked at him as a bridge quarterback. LA fans were upset with him. To kind of use that mentality as a professional athlete, that matters. These guys need something to motivate them. So I don't have a problem with Jared saying what he said. I know some outlets feel like they were personally attacked. I don't. I mean, I've had things to say about Jared in the past, and I respect Jared. I think he's a damn good quarterback. But you can't blame Jared for feeling this type of way. I mean, you remember all those press conferences of Jared speaking to the media, and he gets asked to, hey, you guys are, the underdog this or the underdog that. That's kind of been a conversation. I mean, even going back to after his first year with the Detroit Lions, the conversation, can't believe I'm saying this, was about Malik Willis. The possibility of Malik Willis, yes, I know, being drafted number 2. It was the dumbest thing. Me and Adam called it dumb when it first was a conversation. But there always has been this feeling that, Jared's a bridge, and you get to it now, and you look at how he's played the last 2 years with this mentality. And I love that Jared's flipped that switch and he's become a complete monster. He's a top 10 quarterback. Absolutely. If you want to put him top 6, top 7, whatever, but he's used this to fuel him as he should. The Lions finally built the team around him. His best 2 receivers weren't Perriman and Williams. Taking Anthony Lynn as his OC, you got an actual offensive coordinator. You built up your offensive line. You got him weapons. Now you're building up a defense. It's a, competent organization. So I didn't take this in a bad way. And I hope a lot of media outlets didn't as well. I don't think you should. It's interesting when you look at where Jared was before really the switch turned for the Lions and they started winning to before or after, excuse me. And I have this graphic here I want to show everybody. And this Adam actually made this. So a big shout out to him. But check these numbers out. I mean, look at his first 21 games. 4-16-1. This isn't all on Jared, by the way, but this is where the Lions were as a team. So you can say, yeah, Jared wasn't good, but the Lions weren't, obviously good at all either. But he had 5,000 yards, a little over, 31 TDs, 14 interceptions, 66.1 completion percentage, 92.1 quarterback rating. And then you look at the next, 30 games of Jared Goff. And you got almost 8,000 yards, 53 TDs, 13 interceptions, a higher completion percentage. I mean, he had more TDs, more yards, a better record, less picks, a higher completion percentage, and a higher quarterback rating. And you look at how he's been the last 2 years. He's played at a Pro Bowl level. He's been one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFC. Like, he has been everything that some Lions fans didn't think he could be. And that's important. Like, Jared is somebody that, and I think he's not the only one, thrives on confidence, and he's playing with the utmost confidence. And I don't think all Lions fans are negative. I mean, there's a lot of fans that love Jared, and that are very loyal to Jared and believe he's the franchise. And he even mentioned in an interview that an extension could be coming very soon. But we have to get over the whole, like, Jared's attacking us personally. Like, look how his first year started, the Lions' first year. Like, that team was not absolved from criticism. It was bad. It was worse than bad. And then you look at the next season, right? You start 1-6. It's not good again. He's not playing. He wasn't the problem. But then you look at, he wasn't playing the best. And then you look at the second half of the season, 8-2. Jared's playing really well. The team's playing really well. The defense is playing better. Like, again, it's not all on Jared. But that team, it was right to criticize them at the time. Like, Detroit's not the only city in America that has, it has a fan base. And I know people bring up the Lions fan base, which I'll get to in a minute. But there's always going to be debates. There's always going to be, this team's not good enough, even if they're winning. Like, the Lions are not the only team that go through this. I mean, people mention Philly. Look at Philly. Like, look at that. Look at Dallas. Like, look at these other markets that are just, except for the Chiefs, because there's nothing really to be negative about. You got Pat Mahomes. But for the most part, there's always going to be this negativity. You just don't want it to kind of overcome the positivity. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have these discussions. Like, I felt a certain way about Jared year one. I didn't think he would turn it around. He proved me wrong, and rightfully so. Go ahead. And I can appreciate when an athlete does this. And I think Jared Goff's a prime example of, turning his career around. And now he's a franchise quarterback, which is great. But the Lions, I don't blame fans either for having skepticism about Jared or about the Lions in general. You could call it negativity. But you look at what Lions fans have had to endure most of their lifetime. Like, this is very new for us. Very new. To have a Super Bowl contender, it is kind of foreign. Not kind of, it is. I mean, even having expectations to win the division. They won the NFC North last year for the first time ever. Ever. Since the NFC North was, official. They've won a division previously, but it's been a while. So I love this. Like, if Jared Goff utilizes Detroit media or just negativity and uses it as a motivation, I mean, it's something that people always loved about Michael Jordan, not comparing him directly, but why are we going to praise Michael for always, taking the small things that are said about him or the Bulls and using it as fuel? Like, I don't hate this at all. I think it kind of, actually, I'm more impressed with Jared knowing this information than if he was just, everything's all roses and flowers, right? Rainbows, flowers and rainbows, whatever analogy you want to use. Like, I like that. I like that out of the Lions quarterback. If you want a guy that, is going to be motivated for the right reasons, so be it. And he even mentioned, like, maybe it's just me because I have a chip in my shoulder. And he should not apologize for that. So, to kind of bring it all home here, I love that Jared said this. I don't think media outlets should take offense to this. Like, it is their job to report honestly, whether it's, if some media outlets might feel like they're going to go more positive, they're going to go more negative, whatever it is. My job is to tell you guys my opinion. And that's what I'm always going to do. We all watch the same game on Sunday, but I have to give you guys a reason to tune in. Why is my opinion different? Why should I matter more than other content creators? Because there's a lot of good ones. Like, you're going to be wrong. Like, I was wrong. I thought he was I didn't want Malik Willis, but I wasn't sure if he was the franchise year one. Okay. Look at where we are now. He's turned his career around. Lions are going to pay him. Give him an extension, and he deserves it. So I thought this was funny. I don't think anyone should take offense to what Jared said. I'm cool with this. Jared, keep using stuff as motivation, man, because you're playing at a high level. So, if you're going to use certain things, or whatever it is, go ahead. Be you. Because like Dan Campbell said, you're good enough for Detroit. And I think Detroit fans should appreciate somebody that has a chip on their shoulder. Because that's what the city's about. That's what it's always been about. So I love this. I thought it was comical. I saw it on social media. I saw it on Twitter. And I want to bring it up here and post on. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. I mean, what do you make of this? Is it a big nothing burger like I think it is? Or do you think there's some truth to it? Is Detroit media too negative? Because I don't think it's the end all be all with Detroit media. I don't think they're negative. There's a lot of media outlets that are positive. That's how it should be to some extent, right? You got to have some objectivity. But what do you guys think about what Jared said? Please comment down below. Leave your thoughts. Don't forget, subscribe. You guys are doing a great job hitting the subscribe button. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers, about 500 or so more, and we're there. So thank you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be anything. And we're live every day, weekdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can catch us. And don't forget, we'll be at the draft at the end of the month here. So buy your tickets. They're in the description. Us and Questionable Tees. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's worth every penny. Trust me. Until next time, I'll catch you guys.